Happy Friday. You know how much we love a Friday around here. Love a Friday. Come on in, you guys. It's really good to see you. Welcome in every day, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. We've been doing this for over a year, you guys. Over a year. So many people now know how to turn around their insulin resistance, are being like testimonial queens. This is a very good community. Good morning, Terry. Good to see you. Terry sent me, Terry, I forgot to screenshot your testimony that just came in. If you would write it, that's great. If you don't have time, no big deal. I'm going to screenshot it and I'm going to throw it into my stories. So don't you even worry about it. But basically, so I'll jump into today's topic, which is going to be basically, you might be insulin resistant if ... kind of like you might be a redneck if. It's my own little version because it's a happy Friday, right? We're going to do some fun Friday stuff, but you don't even know it. So you might not know some of these some of these symptoms and signs of insulin resistance. Anyway, hey, Cheryl, good to see you. So Terry was just telling me that she took the orange pixie stick, and this is the one that helps with the visceral fat. It's helping you reduce inches, but it's really important. I know we all want to lose inches, but it's really, really important. Patty, good morning. And she did 90 days and she didn't have full measurements, but she lost inches. And when we're measuring, you guys, just to let you know, measure underneath your bra, your waist, and your hips, okay? After 90 days, the best testimony I have is 3.5 inches from under the bra, 2 inches off the waist, and 1 inch off the hips. Okay. But she took a 30-day break like I recommend that you guys do, and she did it again, and she's losing more inches, and she's so excited. And if you saw her, you would realize that, good morning, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. That Terry is not a robust person. So it's not like, oh, well, she has so many inches to lose, she can just afford it. No. Her non-scale victory last year, after losing 40 pounds in 8 months, was that she could tuck in her shirt for the first time in a long time. And she's 62. So I'm just telling you to keep on losing inches. I know you guys don't take my word for it because I know exactly what she's talking about because I'm experiencing the same thing, but I don't feel like my testimony is nearly as strong as your guys' testimony. So if you guys ever need to know about the fat burner, I had somebody reach out to me this morning and ask me about, they wanted the trio, the 3 supplements that help with insulin sensitivity, but then they wanted this because this is literally developed for a sports nutrition line. So it is meant to target for your body mass index, for your BMI. And it says waist and hips, waist and hips, waist and hips, like what we want. But it's because it's targeting that visceral fat. Very exciting. Hi, Jan. Good to see you. Lori. Oh my gosh. It's like a total party. Very, very, very good. Okay. Jump on in. Today we want to talk about you might be insulin resistant and you might not even know it. So we're going to fill in that blank a little bit for you. I don't think I have any housekeeping. My only housekeeping maybe would be, I just checked before I jumped on again because the magnesium launched on Wednesday. And it's buy 2 and then you can get a free full-size product. You guys don't miss out on it because literally the magnesium is $34 and it's a triple blend with an extract for your heart. When you buy 2 of them, that's $68, but you can get a free ashwagandha, which is $44. Girl math. And both of them, take 2 magnesium and 2 ashwagandha before you go to bed at night. Sleep like maybe your husband. I'm thinking that's probably a good, I recently was thinking it makes me sleep like my cat, cats are, but both ashwagandha and magnesium, this blend and ashwagandha help with your blood sugars. And the reason why you're waking up in the middle of the night is because your sugars are spiking and dipping. Okay. And we know I've had so many conversations now with you people, you guys, you girls, you ladies. I do have some guys that do follow, but mostly we're just a bunch of women. And that your dawn phenomenon. It's your morning sugars that you're paying attention to. And you're like, that was a conversation I had this morning with somebody. Those morning sugars are kind of stinky and they don't make sense. And we just talked about it. Was it yesterday, you guys? Was yesterday our dawn phenomenon conversation? It might have been. Hello, Anna. Good to see you. Beautiful Anna. And we don't understand why. Like, well, I stopped eating at 8 o'clock at night and then I went to bed and I woke up and my sugars, why would they be high? Well, it has to do with you're going to have glucose put into your system in order for you to wake up, but your body's not managing it very well. And so it's a liver conversation, but it's also an bring down your insulin and sugars conversation. So good morning. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you for jumping on and tapping the screen. I appreciate it. So today we're going to talk about you might be insulin resistant if. Share this out if you know a friend that needs to hear pieces of insulin resistance. Or I always tell you guys, like if you have a daughter or a daughter-in-law, I should have started taking action in my upper 30s. And I waited until my upper 40s. And then I didn't even trade out my foods until I was 50. So there's hope for everybody, but the sooner the better. Okay. My kids are now 36, 33, and 30. And they all need this information. They all need this information. And each one for different reasons. Okay. My daughter, 33, she had gallstones with her pregnancies, 2 of her pregnancies, 2 out of the 3. Did you know that's connected to insulin resistance? I'm telling you, everything's connected. If you can get to the core understanding that insulin resistance is your base, and you're going to look at how to change your base, shift it, you can change the meds that you're on and the weight that you weigh and the size that you are and the sleep that you're not getting and the fatigue that you're feeling and the napping that's going on. You can shift so much in your world, all because you change the lens to an insulin resistant lens. Okay. Happy spring, Sharon. You're right. It's officially spring. Hello. That makes me happy. I'm in Minnesota, by the way. And if you've never seen me before, put a 1 in the comments. I would love to know if I'm brand new to you. And if you're used to me, put a 2 in the comments. And if you're on the replay, let me know where you're coming in from. I would love to know. My background story is Italian, obesity and insulin resistance all over my universe, type 2 diabetes everywhere. And my dad died at 63 because of that. And I'm telling you, it's not a great prognosis in our nation right now. Did you know that 1 in 3 people are insulin resistant? And they don't even know it. 1 in 3. 1 in 3. That should make us all pause for just a second. Like, what the heck? 1 in 3 and we don't even know it. So if you're dealing with like cravings, fatigue, stubborn weight gain, or you just can't lose weight, things like that, your body might be like screaming for help. That's how this goes. Okay. So let's just break down some of the sneaky signs for you guys that you just really, you know what? You can't afford to ignore them. Okay. Now you may already know that you're insulin resistant. That might be why you're on my content, but now you might be thinking about somebody, right? You might be thinking about somebody. And I build my complete platforms and my business, helping you guys to target your supplementation by referrals. So if you know of somebody, let's help out another friend, okay? Another family member. So because it's Fun Friday, I thought we would do something kind of like, on the lines of, what's his name that does that? So you might be a redneck if. We're going to talk about sneaky insulin resistant signs instead. So drop a me, like a raise your hand in the comments if it's you that's ever struggled with, fatigue, cravings, stubborn weight, and all of those types of things, even though you're eating healthy. I have this conversation with you a lot in the comments too, or in the back pathways of Messenger, etc. Okay. So you might be insulin resistant if you crash after eating carbs. Now that might seem normal, but it is a cycle that's happening because your body can't take and deal with the spike that you just gave it. So you're giving it a spike and your body is producing insulin to go grab the spike and get it into your cell for energy. And when it can't grab all of the spike, all of the energy, you're just going to crash because it wasn't able to get dealt with. So you're going to crash, and then all of that extra energy, glucose, because your food turns into glucose, gets turned into fat. That's what's so dang frustrating, you guys, is we don't know why we're having a hard time losing weight, right? So who feels like they need a nap after you eat a carb-heavy meal? We probably all would say we do. But you know what? Let me know in the chat if that's like something that's super like very forwardly obvious for you. Like you crash hard. You crash hard. I have somebody in my family who's type 2, and I just know, I remember when we used to eat more normal foods, a lot of pasta in our Italian family, a lot of pasta, a lot of cookies, a lot of bread, and the crash would be so hard for this person, right? Like, you're in the middle of, whatever, an afternoon, and you're just going to take a nap because you crash hard. That is actually a sign of insulin resistance, that your body can't handle what you just ate. It can't process it. Number 2, you might be insulin resistant if you wake up exhausted after a full night's sleep. So you're like, why am I so freaking tired? That goes back to that whole conversation. Listen, if you're having a hard time sleeping, or if you're not getting quality sleep, you guys go back and think about the magnesium and the ashwagandha, because this is a window of opportunity because of the launch that just took place. So this isn't going to last forever. But if you buy 2 of the magnesium, you're going to get 1 of the ashwagandha full-size bottle for free. That's a $44 retail value. Like, it's really, really, really good. And then the 2 magnesium together is 68. So what's 68 minus 44, right? Girl math. And so cortisol and insulin resistance, it's like a very big connection. And so while you're sleeping, your body is actually like, it's not dealing with the stress that it needs to be dealing with. So you wake up and you're still tired because you didn't have restorative sleep. And this is all hormones, right? Cortisol is a hormone, insulin's a hormone, melatonin's a hormone. It's all hormones. And so if you're not getting restorative sleep, that is a sign of insulin resistance. Number 3, you might be insulin resistant if you carry your weight around your midsection, belly fat. We talk about this a lot. So put a me in the comments if that is you and you've been trying to figure out how to not carry so much belly fat. That's like the first number 1 sign of insulin resistance. And then it's the last thing to go. It's really challenging. It's challenging for us when we're shopping. It's challenging for us to find clothes that fit our body properly, because when you are compensating for, a belly or bigger hips or whatever, I know that I've had to really change the way that I view, like how I'm buying clothes and stuff. And also too, just because weight gets distributed differently as we get older, blah, blah, blah. And I just turned 60. So, I just know what that's like, and really trying to figure out how to work around having that belly, which is so frustrating. But insulin is driving visceral fat storage. And this is where then you get a lab back and you find out that you have fatty liver, or you may not even know it, and you have fat around your not just your liver, but your pancreas, your stomach, your intestines, etc. So that's why when I talk about the orange pixie stick, that was the testimony at the beginning of the live. Terry saying she did this for 90 days on this, and she lost inches. The first month she lost 1 inch off of her, like her waist and her hips and under her ribs. So an inch in each of those places. Then she went back because she was like, oh, this is working. I should have measured, I should have been paying more attention. So she went back and bought 2 boxes to do the full 90 days. And she said she didn't measure, but she lost more. She took a 30-day break and she's now back at it, and she's losing more inches. So I'm just telling you, like, targeting that visceral fat, it's almost like you shrink from the inside out is kind of what is happening. But that visceral fat is coming from insulin resistance. This is the issue that we deal with, that we just don't even know is a connection. So hold on. Yeah. I feel like when we talk about visceral fat, it's hard to visualize because we can't see it. I do know, however, that you can go to a gym and you can get a body scan, or there are other ways. There are scales that will tell you your visceral fat percentage or whatever. I don't know how that all works, but I have now 2 verified scans of people's visceral fat going down significantly by using this. And this is the orange pixie stick. So you can always reach out to me and ask me about the orange pixie stick. And it tastes like candy. So if you want your supplements to taste like candy, but you might be insulin resistant. Number 4, if you feel hangry or dizzy in between meals. Anybody hangry? You do not have to be overweight to be insulin resistant, by the way. You can be skinny and think that being hangry is normal. I'm just telling you, that's a very, very true thing. So your blood sugar swings going up and down, it's impacting your mood. That's what's happening when you're insulin resistant. So, if you're like hungry and you like snap at somebody because you're like not in the mood to do anything other than eat, that's kind of that hangriness that we deal with. That can be insulin resistance, okay? Number 5, you might be insulin resistant if your sugar cravings feel impossible to control. I've talked about this a lot because you know what? We shame ourselves and make ourselves feel bad if we can't control our cravings. Like, I'm just, like I'm such a loser. I have no self-control. I have no willpower. I have no discipline. But did you know that those sugar cravings are actually coming from a place of internal wanting and needing? Your body is signaling that it needs fast energy is what's happening. And so it's also messing with your dopamine and your craving. So your spikes and your lows, it's messing with that whole dopamine. And so your body's like, I need another hit. And it's also like, I need more energy because that energy is not getting into your cell. Because your cell is, everybody say it with me, your cell is resistant. So when your cell is resistant to the energy being given to it by insulin shuttling it in, you're not getting the energy into your cell, and your body's like, excuse me, I need some energy. If you could quick eat a bagel, that would be really nice because then I would get a fast hit to my sugar spiking. Do you understand? So this is literally like a scientific conversation. And that's so if you're hangry or you're dizzy in between meals, those sugar cravings are out of control. That's what that is. Your sugar cravings impossible to control. That's that piece of that. And you're like snapping at people. And then number 6, you might be insulin resistant if you have skin tags or dark patches or acne. The acne can be another one. Super interesting, right? So insulin resistance affects the skin and acanthosis nigricans. I'm going to say it again. Hold on. It's so funny because the other night at our business meeting, I did the product of the week about the magnesium and the ashwagandha, and I said really big words. Now, they're big words, but I actually said them right. Now, I'm not saying I said them smoothly. And afterwards, this guy, he's funny. He's like, man, you crushed those big words. Way to go. I said, well, I hesitated. He goes, no, you crushed it. You did good. I said, thanks. Thank you for that. So let's say it again. Acanthosis nigricans. Those are like dark patches, like sometimes on your neck or under your armpit. Okay. And/or skin tags. And those are symptoms of insulin resistance. Okay. And then let's see here. The last one is you might be insulin resistant if your triglycerides are high and your HDL is low. Okay. Your triglycerides are high and your HDL is low. So go look into your patient portal, see what your labs are. If your triglycerides are high and your HDL is low, there is a connection between that. Okay. And so hold on, I want to see what I'm missing over here. You're just about all of the above, but you're working on all of it. I'm so glad. Very good. Oh, you guys are raising your hands. You're so good. Jan, I love that. Oh, thanks, Joy. You're so sweet. Well, I do use really good skincare and I don't eat sugar or grains. So it does make your skin better, right? Good morning, Susan. Good to see you. So let's see here. Let me wrap this up for you guys. I just love doing something different on Fridays because, hello, Fridays. So if you nodded your head to 2 or more of these signs, it's time to take action. That's insulin resistance. Isn't just about weight. It affects your energy, your hormones, and your long-term health. So raise your hand if you had 2 or more. I know Patty already said yes to like all of them, but 2 or more, that's what's getting you into a pickle. Thank you so much for joining in, you guys on TikTok. I appreciate you so much. If you want to turn this around, well, that's kind of where I've got you. Like, this is what I talk about all the time. So every day at 11 a.m., we talk about Central Standard Time. We talk about insulin resistance because this is my story. This is my universe, right? So my wheelhouse, not because I chose it, but because it is, my wheelhouse has been insulin resistance now for a really long time. I was very much affected by it through my dad, his life journey and struggle with type 2. He was diagnosed when he was like 35 years old. And then he lived to 63. And all of those years, almost 3 decades, were very much filled with, medicine and medical procedures, a lot of times emergency medical procedures, and kind of a failing level of function. His daily function was just not great, because remember, when we read through all of those signs, it's kind of like, think about that and how you're tired. Well, how much are you getting done if you're tired? If you're just fatigued, if you didn't sleep well last night, how much running around with your grandkids are you going to do today? Because you're tired. Or if you're hangry all the time, or if you're just craving sugars all the time, and you're just always thinking about something other than being present in the moment of your life. And that's what I watched with his whole world. His whole world was a medical conversation, right? And so because that was my existence growing up and watching my dad give himself insulin shots in his belly twice a day, knowing, where the hypodermic needles were in the house. He was 35 diagnosed. That's right around when I was born. So my whole life, when I say my whole life, I mean literally like since I was born. And here he is taking insulin in his belly. So, here, once I'm like 10 years old, well, I'm very apt to go into the refrigerator and get things. And I was always told, you don't touch those insulin vials. And we knew where the hypodermic needles were in his, dresser drawer in the bedroom. And you were taught at a young age not to touch his medical supplies. And so, when I looked around myself at the Italian family and I saw so much type 2 and obesity, I kind of really did have like this reckoning moment. I was right around 37 years old, standing in my yard. I have 3 children. We were homeschooling, and I basically was standing outside. I remember literally the outfit that I was wearing. I could probably find a picture and tell you. And I just remember, I don't know, sometimes I think the enemy just drops thoughts into our head, and we decide whether or not we receive the thought or if we flick it away. And the thought came to me, I wonder if I'm supposed to just like embrace this obese life that I'm living and the fact that I'll be type 2. And I wasn't type 2 at the time. However, I had already been gestational diabetic with baby number 1, hypoglycemic with baby number 2. And I remember that thought coming to me, and I'm super grateful because in that moment, I kind of went, no. And this is not out loud. I don't say this out loud. And this happens within just a flash of a moment. And I remember thinking, no, I'm not going to do that. But I had zero idea how to fix it because I hadn't done any research yet. Everything that I talked to you guys about, I hadn't even started. It would be another 13 years of me doing squat until I really start studying and going, okay, hold on, just wait a second. So why did my dad, I questioned this over the years, but I really began to dive in. Like, he had so much medication going on. Why did he have this, lazy Susan full of meds? Why, why did he die at 63 if this is not a terminal diagnosis? And I started really digging in and asking more questions than I had those fleeting moments. And that's how I come here now, because I'm the only one in my family to have avoided, my immediate Italian family, to have avoided type 2 diabetes. I'm the only one. And I shouldn't have been. I should have been the one that was, because I had been gestational diabetic with a pregnancy. I had frozen shoulder when I was 50. Like, I should have been the one to be type 2 and on meds right now. And the only thing that I changed, the only thing that I shifted was I started with targeted supplements. I talk about those all the time. That's the trio, the 3 supplements that help with insulin sensitivity. I started with these because I wasn't willing to trade out my foods. And then when I traded out my foods, I took a journey on that. And some of you need to be given permission to take on a journey. When I say to you guys, I'm fighting for you 5 years from now, it's not because you can't see results right now in 2025. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that I am very empathetic towards, am I empathetic or sympathetic? Am I, I resonate with the fact that the journey of food can take a half a minute, but you can start to get your body to function before you get all your food figured out. If you think you have to figure out everything all at once, you may not ever step in to turning back your insulin resistance, because you may think that you have to have a certain answer before you do this. Don't do that. You can get your engine shifting how it's functioning. I promise you, you really can. And then you can use, hello, all Kristen. Kristen's giving me a big heart on my head over on TikTok. You're amazing. You can take a step right now and start with targeted supplementation and then just commit to figuring out the food. But you don't have to do that alone. I don't tell anybody that you're going to do that alone. No. I come here 5 days a week at 11 a.m. Central, and we talk about this in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. I do a 5-day challenge every single month. You guys, we've been doing it for almost 2 years. Do you know that? Do you know that that's what's been happening? Every single month, you can have that level of support where I will teach you ingredient trade-outs. I'll take you into my refrigerator, into my pantry. Isn't that what you've been looking for? To lock arms with somebody who will actually show you how they did what they did to get what they have. And what did I get? What do I have? Well, I entered my 50s a 2X. I exited my 50s a large, and I'm not on any meds, and I completely avoided type 2. And now the testimonies, bunches of testimonies. If you want to see testimonies, you just scrolled and found your life. Oh, Linda. So whole grain bread is not good if you're insulin resistant. It is not, Linda. It is not. I'm so glad you found my live, Linda. I hope you're still on. That's fantastic. I'm going to put that up there. Whole grain bread is not good if you are insulin resistant. So I teach grain-free, sugar-free, legume-free, because we have to fix what got us into the pickle to begin with. But I'm going to tell you, me telling you the truth is the best thing that ever happened to you right now. Because Maria Emmerich telling me the truth was the best thing that ever happened to me. She's a keto nutritionist. So I'm just going to tell you the truth. Because listen, nobody wants to be spinning. You will only spin so long before you give up. You will only allow yourself to not get results for so long before you allow bad thoughts to come into your head and tell you, you know what, that's just not for me. That didn't work for me. It works for other people. Or you don't understand. I've been overweight all my life. I was even a chubby baby. This is just who I am. This is just how it goes. Do you understand? And then you'll give up because you can't take the maybe the pressure. I don't know for sure if that really is pressure. I'd have to think about it. But you can't take the lack of winning. You can only do that for so long. So I'm going to tell you the truth. Grain, sugar, legume free, you're going to get really, really good results. Okay. But I am going to show you how to find, thanks for asking that, Linda. I appreciate you asking that question. I am going to show you where you can find oodles of testimonies, because you have to have your own heart encouraged. If you do not have your heart encouraged, then again, you're just going to think that everything is the same. I just hear a bunch of noise all the time. You know, people say, do this, don't do that, eat this, don't eat that. It's so confusing. And then guess what happens? What does a confused mind do? Everybody answer with me. A confused mind does nothing. It does nothing. If you have too many choices, if the human brain has too many choices, we'll sit down. If we don't have total clarity, we'll sit down. We'll do nothing. We're like, okay, never mind. Come on. How many times have you done that? Like, you've tried to go to put together an Amazon order, or you've gone shopping and you try to, oh, this one could work. And then you go to another store. Well, this one could work. And then you go to another store and you're like, well, maybe this one. You're like, never mind. Let's go out to eat. Because your brain just can't. This is a brain thing. This is not a you being a lame person. This is just your brain, like, pretty much trying to protect you. Like, too much information. Stop now. Stop, turn back, go back. And that's what happens all the time. So if I can't keep things streamlined for you guys, if I can't keep things extremely simple, so many of the phone consults that I've been doing lately, listen, we're all the same. Not one person that I have talked to recently said, if you would just give me a recipe with 30 ingredients, I can't wait to learn deep thoughted, that's not a word, but deep, complicated recipes. I just can't wait to try something with 30 ingredients. Bring it on. I want your PDF of really complicated recipes. I'm like, you guys, I am the most simple person on the face of the planet. People are like, well, what did you eat today? And I'm like, well, let's say I had a couple of eggs and maybe a chicken sausage. Well, then what did you do for lunch? Well, I had like maybe a couple of chicken thighs, or I took an egg life wrap and some taco meat and some salsa, and I made like little roll-up burritos. And then, I'm not making meals. I'm eating protein, and I'm eating the protein that I love. For me, that's making me feel full and satiated, and my blood sugar goes, I'm very simple. So having said that, if you go to my site, which is my first last name.com, Kirsten Liebelt is my name. So it's KIRSTEN, all one word, LIE, as in lie down, belt, BELT, like you put it on your clothes. Basically, it looks like Kirsten Liebelt.com. You're going to see a site that looks like this, and it's literally one page. But there's one thing that I want to show you on this today. Oops, I made noise on my microphone. 1, 2, because I do switch my buttons around. So for today, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I did put it down there. So the 8th button, actually. So it's like this. But if you go down to this big fat one, see that big fat one, lots of words on it. It says read trio testimonials. And the trio testimonials, these are, some of them do have a little fire on them towards the bottom. I'm starting to collect those too. Those fiery ones, those are for the fat burner. And if you see one that has a plant on it, that's for the gut primer, for the gut reset protocol. So using the gut primer and a probiotic, like if you have leaky gut, if you have constipation, acid reflux, you do not have a gallbladder, this is something you want to pay attention to. It's already inside 6 products in one. It already has your digestive enzymes, your pre and postbiotics, your alkaline spices, etc. You'll see that on here. But this is a Google sheet for the trio. So you have to move it around because it's a Google sheet, okay? But look at, these are testimonies for the trio. This is 2024. The ones that I wrote down. Yep. I mean, you have to encourage your own heart. You have to. And if you don't like to read it in this format, go to the top of my Instagram page for people who are on Instagram. There's a pink highlight bubble. And then I've started a second one because it just got to be so many that I thought people are not going to sit here and go tap, 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 tap for the next 15 minutes, tap, tap, and read and read and read. So I started a new one. But my point being that if you're looking to have an understanding of how you can get your insulin resistance down, if you, hold on. It's so funny to me that I don't know how to work this Android very well yet. So just bear with me and my technology. I always say that when 2020 came and I taught myself social media stuff, my brain hurt for a whole year, but I kept going. That tells you that if I can do it, anybody can. And then I always tell people, like, for anybody who's looking for extra income, I can actually now teach it. I can teach what I worked so hard to learn. So I love teaching people how to make money online. But anyway, right here, the second button is the trio. So if you go to that, you're going to see a video of me explaining the trio. Okay, second button, it says trio with testimonies. Video, 2.5 minutes long. It will explain why the trio works. Okay. And then of course there's a cart, there's some information. There's my before and after in my 50s and Canadian access, because I love my Canadian customers, a free daily protein guide. Okay. So how you can get all your stuff. There's the gut primer. This is my daughter. This is a bloating. If you're a bloated person, that's the gut primer. That happened overnight for her, and she's only 33. So you don't have to be our age because a lot of you are my age. And then you can, and then the fat burner. There's the testimonies. And then these are all, here's Terry. Terry's on right now. Terry lost. She went sugar-free and grain-free. She started with her food. She did the opposite of me. She started with food. She went grain-free, sugar-free, high protein, followed by adding in like the trio, etc. And she's now, her testimonies are coming in on the Pixie Stick for almost 8 months. And I don't think it says on here, but she lost, I wrote it down up there, 40 pounds in 8 months. And now she's even more than that. But that's her before and after. And then these are all this is a handful of testimonies of the trio, just a handful right there, because the Google sheet has so many. But then this is me and my sister. I just talked to my sister this morning. Oh, hold on. This is me and my sister. This was back, hold on, I apologize for pulling that from you. Maybe this was 14 years ago, 15 years ago, my sissy. So I don't know if you can see that, but that's when I was 2X. That's one of my befores at 2X. I have many. And look at what we're holding. Everybody should find that funny. Of course we're holding bread. Of course we are. We're Italian. That's what you do, and that's been my whole Italian life. So anyway, every single day I have the absolute privilege of talking to somebody. I don't think a day goes by where I'm not having a conversation with somebody in my messenger, in my Instagram inbox, on TikTok, just about their journey with being insulin resistant. They can't lose weight. They want to get off of meds. They're tired of the side effects. Phone conversation yesterday, like metformin I should probably be careful about saying that. Met, not everybody loves the diarrhea side effects. Go figure. And, being able to help people actually get off of meds, I have to rephrase that immediately. I'm not a doctor. I do not walk anybody off of meds. Okay. So don't be confused, but you guys are going to your physicians and you guys are getting your labs and you guys are actually telling them, this is what I'm doing and pretty much get out of my way. And I'm going to see if I can get results for myself. And most of you are finding physicians that will support you in a new approach because the old approach wasn't working. Good morning, Claudette. It's good to see you. I'm glad you found time to jump on. That's good. You're good. And I'll tell you, it is, one of the most maybe astounding testimonies is, again, somebody who, just like Terry, started with food, because you guys are like maybe more courageous than I was. I don't know. I just thought I couldn't do it. I didn't believe in myself because, food. But she started with trading out her food. And she just listened to a lot of my content. She's paid attention to the content. It got her started. She eventually started with like the trio, etc. And in 1 year, she's got off of 10 meds and she's down 50 pounds. And that's astounding. Now, I did not do that for her. She did that for herself. But that's astounding. But that's what can happen when you get good information into your ears and into your spirit. That's what can happen. But the biggest part of her journey is the fact that this is what she said. This is the sentence that matters the most. For 30 years, I was never told any of this. And I wasn't getting better. I was getting worse. 30 years, 3 decades. How long are we willing to listen to bad, trash information from our medical system that is keeping us sick and medicated and obese? How long will we listen to bad information before we go, okay, wait a second. Oh, okay, hold on. What they're telling me isn't working. I should probably change course. How long? Right? We're very indoctrinated, you guys. You have to recognize we're very indoctrinated. Just think back to this is a funny little analogy, but just think back to Little House on the Prairie. What Doc Baker said went. Doctors used to actually be very highly respected because we thought they were always giving us like the best information always. But then the more knowledge increased and we had access to do study on our own. And when things weren't working, we found alternatives and we decided to become our own advocates. And that's what we do here collectively. It's been so great. This has been a really great journey, you guys. And Kristen said she loved Little House on the Prairie. I know, me too. But I'm just telling you, like, that's actually a real life example of, maybe our generation of why would they give us they wouldn't give us bad information. Well, it's not because the actual doctor is maniacal. It's the system that never taught the doctor anything about nutrition. And they say that themselves. And now we have people like Casey Means, the surgeon from Stanford or Harvard, who she became a surgeon. And then she decided to, abdicate her surgeon. She's decided, I'm not going to do that because I actually want to know what the root cause is. And she started to dive into, the nutrition of our country and all of these things and what was making us sick. She's like, we are only taught how to cut, prescribe, and code. That's literally all we're taught as surgeons. And that's not a good enough answer for me, is what she said. And I love that because now we're waking up, right? And we can take back our health and our advocacy and we can decide that for ourselves. It's like, you know what? You have failed me for 30 years. Give me 6 months. And hey, if my way doesn't work, If I can't make a shift, if I can't get off of a med, if I can't drop a pound, if my visceral fat labs don't go down, if my fatty liver doesn't shift, if my insulin doesn't come down because you're actually going to give me a fasting insulin test, if my A1C doesn't shift, we'll talk. I gave you 30 years. Now you're going to give me 6 months. And guess what? Everything that I teach, like being grain-free, sugar-free, legume-free, that doesn't cost you anything. You're just shifting out your pantry. And when it comes to the supplementation that I talk about, like, let's just pretend you do everything. Let's pretend you do everything that I'm talking about here, everything. 6-month guarantee on all the products. So what have you risked? What have you risked? You haven't. But it is time for people to go, listen, I'm going to give myself a permission to journey a little bit more on my instincts, because we had really good instincts and assessment of ourselves when we were teenage girls. We knew our bodies pretty dang well. We could tell when we were a little bloated, we were going to get our period. We could tell when we had cramping that it was, something was going to happen, or, if our boobs were like tender, and we knew stuff. We paid attention. Like, come on, we're all girls here, right? Matt hasn't said hello yet. So, but didn't we know this, you guys? When did we stop paying attention to our bodies? When did we stop giving ourselves permission to journey without shame? When did we do that? There was at some point in our life, we decided to just hand over everything to the medical system, and it has really failed us. And it's okay for us to stand up and say, you really failed us. And you never told me that my weight gain in my 40s was hormonally driven by insulin resistance, because you never took a fasting insulin test. Shame on you. This is not my issue. This is your issue. So now I'm going to go out and find my answers. And that's kind of where I intercept people in their journey, because all of a sudden things make sense in your brain and you go, that's exactly what's been happening to me. And I'm like, I know. I am so convinced that women are sliding into their 40s. They are insulin resistant. They do not know it. And they are gaining weight, or they can't lose weight. And they have no idea why. Nobody has told them. Not one doctor has explained to them insulin resistance. And because they don't even know it. I have pharmacists that reach out to me. I'm just saying, it's not because I'm so smart. You guys don't hear that. You have to hear me properly. Listen, I've learned from Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Eric Berg, Maria Emmerich. I could give you third-party resource after third-party resource, Dr. Ben Bickman, Dr. Kiltz. Like, who do you want to know about? I'm not a doctor, but I'm just telling you that this is such a simple conversation to me. This is so streamlined. If I gave you 12 steps, 15 steps, you'd be like, what? 15 steps? How about if I give you 2? Doesn't 2 feel good? 2. We're going to learn how to make your pantry look different, but you're still going to make the same foods that you love. And then we're going to get you to start on targeted supplementation. And we're going to change the way that your engine is running from the inside out. You're going to take your vehicle to maintenance. We're going to get you going on some maintenance, okay? You decide if you want partial maintenance, or if you want, it's falling. Stinky. Or if you want full maintenance. You can have partial, you can have full with everything. You can choose for yourself what you want. Full system, partial, right? Depends on the person sometimes, on what you need. And I'm just telling you, you can actually detail your body like you detail a car. Okay? So if you want to be detailed, if you want a detailing and you want it to be a little customized for yourself, did you know that I will do a phone consult with you if you feel like that's needed? Did you know that you can message me and say, I would like a cart with the trio. This has happened to me this morning. I'd like a cart with the trio and the fat burner in it, that orange pixie stick. Perfect. I'll get you those two things. You can ask me for any combination of the things that I talk about. And then I'll wrap up with this because this is, again, it's a very timely moment. The launch of magnesium happened on Wednesday. And what happened was I did not know that they were going to say buy two and get a free product. I had no idea. And I have been talking about the combination of magnesium and ashwagandha for a year, almost a year in May. Because when our ashwagandha released, and I started taking it at bedtime with the magnesium blend that I was taking, I would take 2 magnesium, 2 ashwagandha, 2 magnesium, 2 ashwagandha. My sleep has never been better. And I'm 60. Okay. So I've been talking about it for a year, almost a year. They come out on Wednesday. They launched the magnesium, which is it's a very stunning blend all by itself. That's neither here nor there. I already talked about that earlier this week. You can go back on the replays, or everything's always on my YouTube. So you can always go subscribe on my YouTube so that you can keep a running list, because lives will start to get deleted off of Facebook after 30 days now. Anyway, and I've been talking about it. And so what they did was they said, okay, buy 2 magnesium. And they didn't consult me, you guys. You'd think they gave me a phone call to create this launch, but they didn't. Maybe they saw my content. I'm joking. Of course they didn't. But they said, buy 2 magnesium. You can get either a free ashwagandha or a free vitamin D. The ashwagandha is $44. So what if you wanted to maybe get a little bit of better sleep? But even more than that, what if you really want a little extra layer of help with your sugars? Well, both magnesium and ashwagandha do that. So anyway, I want you to know that, because that's not going to last forever. So anybody who's interested in the magnesium, you can reach out to me and say, hey, will you grab me that magnesium link? And I'll grab you my little magnesium page and I'll just send it to you. Okay. Because that's going to be while supplies last for sure. They're not going to give out ashwagandha left and right forever. And a couple of you have chosen the vitamin D, not as many as the ashwagandha. And secret, I purchased 2 sets. Now I had to do them separately. So yes, you can make an extra order and do another 2 magnesium and grab another free ashwagandha. And now you're set for longer, right? It keeps you going longer. So, I don't know. I kind of was surprised. I thought it was going to sell out right away. So then that was why on Thursday I go, we're still going. I'm going to place another order. I don't know. Maybe I'll do another one today. I don't know. I'm just telling you, it's such a good deal. Like, I've been taking the ashwagandha ever since it launched. So it's $44. All right. You guys have such a blessed day and enjoy your weekend. Do something for yourself. Find something this weekend that you can be proud of yourself for. And it doesn't have to be big, and you don't have to tell anybody about it. But maybe you just decide that you're going to finally go for a walk and you're going to burn off some of that glucose in the morning, like we talked about the other day, because your morning sugars are a little high. Or you know what? Maybe you're going to go to a social event and you're actually going to say no to something, and you're going to push back on a food pusher. You're gonna be like, you know what? I'm super full right now, but I'll let you know if I'm hungry. I'll let you know. And inside you're like, I've got this. I can do this, right? Like, there are things that you can do for yourself that can make you proud, and you don't have to share with anybody else. I've always said that my food journey was just me and Jesus. And I'm serious. Like, you can be inside your own head, just you and Jesus, for, if you're like me, it took me a long time. You're welcome, Joy. You're so welcome. Took me like 3 to 4 years to trade out my foods. So don't feel bad. It's not taking you too long. You're not too old. And remember, I want to fight for who you are 5 years from now. So you're not behind. You're never behind. Okay. All right. If anybody needs anything, you know where to find me. You know where to find me. I'm not too far away ever. I'm just on the other side of the screen. I'm right here. Just message me. Okay. So have a great weekend. Bye, you guys.